ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधिता भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। The page 8. अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचम् स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहंकार एव च जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुःख दोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा We're in the second verse. Last night we started a discussion on Indriyartheshu Vairagyam, the very first expression in the second verse, Indriyartheshu Vairagyam. Vairagyam translated as dispassion, meaning freedom from passion. So what is passion? Raga and Dvesha, they are called passions, impulses. So Vairagyam, Viragasya Bhavaha Vairagyam, a state of mind which is free from Raga, and therefore Dvesha, the state of mind, is called Vairagya. We were saying last night that we have a natural tendency to relate to the objects and things and beings with raga and dvesha, with attachment and aversion. Our relationships are characterized by attachment and aversion. Thus, our mind divides things and beings and people into two categories. Those which, in my opinion, are the means of happiness and security. I look upon some things, some people, some objects, some situations as giving me comfort, happiness, security. I feel good, comfortable in their presence. There are some other people, some situations, some things in presence of which I become uncomfortable. I feel insecure, I feel intimidated, I feel uncomfortable. Towards them, I have what we call dvesha or aversion. This is my own perception. That I look upon something as a source of happiness or security is my perception of that thing. Similarly, that I look upon something else as a source of unhappiness or insecurity is also my subjective or personal perception. There is no such object or no such thing which can be called a source of happiness always. Because my opinion about things and people also keep changing. Something or someone whom today, under a given set of circumstances, I look upon that as a source of happiness. Under changed conditions, I may look upon the very thing also as a source of unhappiness. My mind is fanciful. It projects happiness or unhappiness upon things and beings which is not there. In Vedanta, it's called Shobhana Adhyasa. Shobhana Ramaniyata Adhyasa. An object is simply an object. The world is what it is. Consists of different objects, names and forms. Sentient and insentient beings. This is what the world is. And whatever is created has a purpose to serve. And therefore, the chairs and tables and all of these have a purpose to serve in my life. Meaning that they have usefulness. Usefulness is one thing and happiness is another thing, understand? Comfort is one thing, happiness is a different thing. Something can give me comfort, but very often I equate comfort with happiness. And therefore, I conclude that more I have, happier I will be. But I should distinguish between what is a source of comfort and what is a source of happiness. So, objects and things in the world are created to serve some purpose in my life. I admit. Thus, I feel hungry, therefore I need food to appease the hunger. I feel thirsty, I need water or some other fluid to quench my thirst. I feel cold, I need something to help me relieve from the cold. So cold, heat, rain, hunger, thirst, all of these I experience and therefore I need to become free from those discomforts. So thus, we are born with some basic needs and we need them. But the food can appease my hunger, that food can give me happiness is my projection. That water can quench my thirst, but that water or liquid can give me happiness is my projection. That I feel cold with a blanket, I become free from that cold, that's one thing. That blanket can give me happiness is a different thing. Happiness is something I have projected. Because if something can give me happiness, it should consistently give me happiness. We cannot say that happiness is the nature or quality of any given thing. When can we call it a quality or nature? For example, sugar. The nature of sugar is sweetness. Therefore, sugar will taste sweet whenever you taste it. In the morning, evening, afternoon, today, tomorrow, whether you are in mood or no mood, it will sweet, it tastes sweet. To me and to you, to anybody, it will taste sweet. Then we can say that sweetness is the nature of sugar. But can we say that happiness is the nature of a certain thing or a certain person? No. Because what gives me happiness now may not give me happiness, same thing, under different conditions. I love coffee. At 6:30 in the morning, a cup of coffee is wonderful. So you think, Swami, you love coffee. Very good. You wake me up at 2:30 at night. Swami, here's a cup of coffee. I don't want it. This man loves his wife, loves to talk to her. But not when he is in a boardroom discussing some serious matter of business. At that time his wife says, how are you? He has no time. He says, shut up right now. Don't bother me. And therefore, this is something to be understood basically. That nothing in the world gives me either happiness or unhappiness. That I derive happiness from something because of the way I perceive that thing. And if my perception of that thing changes, it stops giving me happiness. And if my perception becomes reversed, it starts giving me unhappiness. As our Swami says, in the beginning, this two person says, I love you, I love you, I love you. Later on they say, I allow you, I allow you, I allow you. So that's how it is. Thus, happiness is something to be discovered or obtained from our own self. This we discussed earlier. That even if something appears to give me happiness, it is my own happiness that it is giving. Like this man giving me a mango. Like in the train, the ticket collector giving me a mango. My own mango. Because I don't know. When I'm eating, I think it comes from him. And similarly, when we enjoy something, we think happiness is coming from there. But happiness has only one source, and that is the self or the consciousness. Everything else is inert. Inert thing cannot give happiness. This basic understanding is what is required. It is true that we are seeking happiness and we are seeking security. It is true. But unfortunately, we also are born with the notion that I am unhappy by nature, I am insecure by nature, and that I have to acquire happiness, acquire security from something other than myself. This is the pattern of my life. This is, the basic conclusion or notion in my life. So on one hand, I superimpose unhappiness and insecurity upon myself, and where it is not, self is of the nature of happiness, fearlessness. Upon the self, I superimpose unhappiness and insecurity. And upon the objects of the world, I superimpose happiness and security, which again they do not have. Superimposition. Seeing something which is not there. In the Vedanta, they give the familiar example of a rope snake. Sometimes, while taking a walk in the garden, in the evening, a piece of rope may be mistaken by me to be a snake in absence of adequate light. In the Vedantic language, I say that I superimpose a rope where there is a snake. I see something which is not there. It's called superimposition. Similarly, it is the nature of my mind to superimpose happiness upon things and beings of the world, happiness which is not in them. Superimpose unhappiness, inadequacy, incompleteness, a lack or want upon myself, which is of the nature of fullness or happiness. This is how it is. This is called ignorance. And we are born with this ignorance. And therefore, all our life is lived in ignorance. It is lived with these notions. We do not realize that these are notions and not the realities. That I look upon myself as a lacking, wanting being is a notion and not a reality about myself. That I look upon things and beings as giving me happiness or security is notion, not a reality. Can you imagine? Our whole life is lived in notions. No wonder there is no happiness in human life. How can there be happiness when you live a life with the wrong map? This is a map which is the wrong map. So this man is a map of Chicago. He has a very beautiful car, very well tuned, all full of gasoline. He is a good driver, well equipped, and he wants to reach a certain destination. With the use of the map, keeps on going round and round, destination doesn't come. He's surprised, goes to a gas station and asks them, where is this particular thing? So what thing? So here it is in the map. He says, this is a map of, not Chicago, Milwaukee. But in the map which was Milwaukee, by mistake, it was printed Chicago. With a wrong map, can we ever expect to find our destination? No. Even though everything else is right. You have a very good car, very well tuned up. You are a good driver. Everything is fine. But the map is wrong. Similarly, our intentions, everything may be all right, but the basic map is wrong. We are looking for happiness and success where it is not. And we are negating where it is. We need somebody to draw our attention. Either we can learn from our own experiences, or we need somebody to draw our attention to this basic melody of life. This is what makes human being the most miserable creature in the world. The most evolved creature and the most miserable creature. Buffalo has no such misery. But that's what it is. Evolution means sensitivity. Sensitivity means self-consciousness. And self-consciousness, unfortunately, is accompanied with this ignorance or wrong notion. So, Vairagya is a product of Viveka. In Vedanta, they talk of Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi, Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutvam, the fourfold qualifications. Here, Lord Krishna says, Indriyartheshu Vairagyam, Vairagyam. Vairagya is the result of Viveka. Right now, I have Raga. I have attachments and aversions towards things because I look upon them as the source of happiness and security. Therefore, I have Raga Dvesha or attachments and aversions. When Viveka is applied, and I ask myself, either I need somebody to draw my attention, or I am smart enough perhaps to learn from life. Now, how come in spite of accomplishing so many things in my life, how come after surrounding myself with so many things, so many objects of comfort and entertainment, having achieved, acquired or accomplished this wealth and name and fame, whatever I have, in spite of all of this, how come my sense of completeness or self-satisfaction has not grown at all? How come I'm as incomplete or as dissatisfied with life or with myself as I was in the past? So if we make a balance sheet of our life, we do make balance sheet as far as our bank accounts and things are concerned. But if we make balance sheet in terms of self-satisfaction, how much satisfied was I before 10 years or 15 years when I did not have all the various means that I have today? And after adding all of this, have I discovered any greater satisfaction with myself? Answer is likely to be no. What is the reason? That maybe what I'm searching for is not where I think it is. You know the story of the 10th man? This is a Vedanta has to tell this story. There may be a few people who may knew, but the rest of you know. But for the benefit of those who may not have heard that story, and everybody likes to hear it again anyway. So every time you tell the story, we get something new, I hope so. So in a village, there is a group of young boys and they desire to go for a picnic. So they went to the elder in the village to seek his permission that tomorrow we want to go for a picnic, we want to go for an outing. Can we do that? The old man says, you can do, provided one of you takes the responsibility of bringing everybody back safely back. So one of them volunteered. Yes, I take the responsibility. So the old man says, okay, boys, line up in front of me. Let me see how many you are. They all line up and he counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look, there are 10 of you. Make sure that all of you return safely. Just my responsibility. So thus, they are allowed to go. Children are very happy. Next morning, for outing, they set out. They came across the river. They all swam through the river, reached the other bank. At that time, this self-appointed leader, he thought, let me verify if all of us have reached safely. So he knew how to count. He had observed last night how the old man had counted. So he says to his friend, come on fellows, line up, let me count you. Now line up, and he counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We were 10 last night, how come we are 9? He counts again, this side, that way. In different ways he counts. Every time, the number is 9. He thinks, maybe I am making a mistake. He calls his friend, hey, you count. He joins the line. This fellow counts. Same thing. Because they studied in the same school and they were raised the same way. So one by one, each of them came forward and counted. And every time, the count is 9. Now they are all convinced that the 10th boy is lost. Now they cannot proceed further. They have to resolve this issue. So they divided themselves in search parties and started looking for the missing boy in the water, in this bank, that bank. For the whole day they searched. They were all tired, could not find the missing boy. Interestingly, nobody asked how that fellow looked. 10th boy is lost, that's all. They, in the evening, disappointed, sitting under a tree, very sad, crying, not knowing what to do. Fortunately, another old man happened to pass by. So these children, very sad, asked them, children, what's the matter? Why do you all look so sad? So the leader got up and said that one of us is lost. When we started, we were 10, now we are 9. How do you determine that one of us is lost? We counted. How did you count? He again demonstrated. See, there are only 9. Old man says, don't worry my children, I know where the 10th boy is. When he said, he inspired confidence in his children. You know where the 10th boy is? Yes, I know. They thought that he may have seen them someplace. Where is he? Count again, I will show you where he is. Now with all hope and expectation, this fellow started counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And asked, where is the 10th boy? You are the 10th boy. Tvam Dashamos, you are the 10th boy. Simple story, isn't it? But then they were all searching for the missing 10th boy. Who is the 10th boy? Each one of them is the 10th boy because each one counts 9, exclude himself. Each one is the 10th boy. Therefore, each one is searching for his own self. Ignorance creates this kind of a very funny situation or unusual situation where one finds oneself searching for one's own self. Similarly, in our life, because of ignorance, we are searching for happiness and fullness and security and satisfaction and success. Everywhere in the world, not realizing that what I am searching for, that happiness or success, is my own nature. But somehow, because of ignorance, I have concluded that I am unhappy, I am unsuccessful, I have to become happy. And that something else can give me happiness. That's how my life goes in searching for happiness or success. So recognition of this fact and recognition of this fact that happiness or success is not to be found where I am searching for, is to be discovered from my own self. Vedanta says it is praptasya praptihi, attainment of what is already attained, attainment of success which is already your own nature. With this understanding, now I have a different perception of the things of the world. I no more look upon them as source of happiness or security. I look upon them for what they are, useful perhaps, but not a source of happiness or security. This perception, therefore now there is no attachment and there is no aversion also. So this is viveka. Viveka means discrimination, discernment. That I am searching for something in life. That I am born with a purpose, with an agenda. Agenda in my life is to be successful, is to be happy. Except that that success or happiness is to be discovered as my own self. Now, with this understanding, I no more have I don't look upon anything as either source of happiness or unhappiness. Therefore, no attachment, no aversion, no raga, no dvesha. So from viveka or discrimination or discernment of the realities of life, realities about myself and realities about the world, there arises a proper understanding of what is the place of the things and beings. What is their place in my life? That the things can give me comfort. They are useful to me. And I do look upon them as source of usefulness or comfort. And therefore, the extent to which I need comfort, to the extent that I need them to fulfill my needs, I do acquire them. Vairagya, dispassion, doesn't mean I dislike them or I hate them. Except that I don't look upon them as a source of pleasure or gratification. This I then have what we call an objective, a realistic perception and a realistic relationship with the things. This is called healthy relationship, seeing things for what they are. When I look upon them as source of happiness, a superimposing what is not there. And when I look upon them as source of unhappiness, again I superimpose something which is not there. When I stop superimposition, then I see things for what they are. This is called vairagya, dispassion. Freedom from passion, freedom from raga or dvesha, attachment or aversion. Indriyartheshu vairagyam. This vairagya is a very important value in our life. So that we do not waste our energy and time in pursuits which are futile. You cannot extract oil out of sand, however much you try. Similarly, you cannot extract happiness where it is not. And where it appears to be coming from there, it is coming from my own self. Our Swami says that when you are enjoying the beauty of a mountain, remember that you are enjoying your own beauty. That mountain brings you to yourself. When enjoying something, you are really enjoying your own self. So this under vairagya or despair is an understanding. It is not an action. It is not that I turn away from the world. I reject the objects. I don't have enjoy them when they are there. No such thing. It is a healthy and objective perception or understanding about things that brings about certain attitudes. Indriyartheshu vairagyam, vairagya towards the sense objects, means towards the vision. Next one, anahankara evacha. Anahankara, absence of egotism, ahankara. Anahankara is anahankara. Ahankara, what is ahankara? Ahankara, aham is I. In Sanskrit, aham means I. Ahankara, the notion of I-ness. The notion of individuality. That I am an individual self, I am so and so. In reality, that I happens to be limitless. In true nature, I am that very consciousness which is limitless, boundless. But instead, I am suffering from a sense of limitedness, bound by bondage. Why is it so? I am universal self. But I look upon myself as an individual self, confined to this body, mind, sense complex, limited in every way. This sense of individuality, which brings about a sense of limitation, incompleteness, is called ahankara. It is the product of identification with the body, mind, sense complex. See, the reality is that in ourselves there are two entities involved. We are a union of two entities. The person and the personality. In Sanskrit called Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is person, the self, the consciousness. Prakriti, the matter, the costume. So just as an actor puts on a costume, the actor may be a multimillionaire person, he may be playing the role of a beggar and therefore puts on the costume of a beggar. Similarly, the self or the consciousness, which is limitless, has put on this costume of the limited body-mind-sense complex. Meaning that from this limited body-mind-sense complex, the one that is manifesting is the limitless self. Unbelievable. So this limitless self manifesting through a limited equipment, limited upadhi, limited costume, limited personality, limited body-mind-sense complex. This is how the setup is. Why is it so, Swamiji? Well, that's what it is. The Upanishad describes that in the beginning of the creation, Ishvara thought, may I become many. Bahusyam, Prajaya, may I become many, may I be born. Satapotapyata, Satapastaptva, Yadugam Sarvam Asrujata. He deliberated and created all these costumes, variety of costumes, millions of them, billions of them. Tasrishtva Tadevanu Pravishata. Having created these costumes, he entered the costumes. Like a bird enters the nest, similarly also the one limitless self entered each of these limited costumes, like one electricity entering millions of bulbs. And therefore, the one in this body-mind-sense complex, in this upadhi, the one that manifests as the speaker, hearer, thinker, talker, walker, individual, is none other than that limitless self. But the self who is limitless by nature, unfortunately, like that actor who is really a very wealthy person, multi-millionaire, I don't know, what's the expression? Multi-millionaire. And he puts on the costume of a beggar to act as a beggar, play the role of a beggar. Unfortunately, before coming to the stage, he's all dressed up very well. Today he's rather nervous. Therefore, to boost his spirit, he helps himself with a few shots, few too many. And because of intoxication, under the influence of that alcohol, when he coming out of the stage, he looks at himself in a mirror and sees a beggar in the mirror, and he concludes, I'm a beggar. So one in reality is a multi-millionaire or a billionaire, thinks that he is a beggar because he measures himself from the standpoint of costume. He judges himself from the standpoint of the costume. The costume is one of beggar. Now he suffers from all the impoverishment of a beggar. See, you don't have to be a beggar to suffer from beggarliness. You have to just think that you are a beggar. That notion that I am a beggar is enough to make you miserable. There need not be a real snake in front of me, but a notion that is a snake is enough to create fear in me. Similarly, I need not be a real beggar, but this notion on my part that I am a beggar is enough to make me miserable. Similarly, the limitless self, which has put on a limited costume for fun. Why did you do that? So why did you do that? People ask this question, why? Why should limitless self enter this limited upadhi? Having entered, then now he says it's forgotten. He says now he takes himself as upadhi. Why? I don't know. Otherwise there will be no play, there will be no world. I guess he likes his play, that's all. At our cost, Swamiji? I don't know. What sort of play is this? But this is what it is. The limitless self identifying with this limited costume and concludes that I am a limited being. This is called ahankara. The sense of limitedness, sense of individuality. Even though I am one, without a second, I think that I am one self, you are another self, third self. As many living beings are there, as many selves are there, I am just one among countless. Not the one, I am one among countless. So I am born ignorant and I am suffering from these conclusions. This is called ahankara. That is all right, everybody has his ahankara. But this poor ahankara, this fellow, feels very, very small, insecure. And therefore, constantly strives to feel secure, feel that I am all right, I am something. That strong need to feel that I am something. And therefore, I compare myself with others. And I am 3 inches taller than him, I am something. My skin is more fair than this person, I am something. I feel proud, I feel that I am superior to others. This superiority complex, this is ahankara. This original ahankara gives all kinds of complexes. The identification with the body, mind, sense complex brings about many complexes. Our Swamiji says that this body, every part of it creates complex. The head creates a complex. Whether I have enough hair or not, whether my hair are curly enough or not, are they black or blonde or what they are, the complex begins from there. My nose can be also a source of complex. My face, mouth can be a source of complex. My height can be a source of complex. The shape of stomach can be a source of complex. My weight can be a source of complex. Every part of the body can become a source of complex because of identification. And so my mind can be a source of complex. My intellect can be a source of... Swamiji, my memory is limited. I can't remember things. I can't understand these very subtle things. So complexes that I'm not intelligent enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good looking enough, I'm not educated enough, I'm not learned enough, I'm not wealthy enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not powerful enough. Nobody feels enough, I tell you. The person who I think is very strong also doesn't feel he's strong enough. Our Swami used to say that, look, there is a contest called Miss Universe. And this woman is declared Miss Universe, meaning that she is the most beautiful woman in the universe. So now she should feel very comfortable that I am the most beautiful woman in the universe. So from tomorrow she need not make up anything because she is beautiful. So she need not further beautify. But is that what is going to happen? No. If she is spending 2 hours every day for in makeup, from tomorrow she will spend 3 hours. She doesn't think she is beautiful. This complex, ahankara is all these complexes arising from identification with the body, mind, sense complex, the superiority complex, the inferiority complex. If I'm successful. I declare myself, I'm successful. I'm something. If I'm a failure, I'm a failure. So all of these are various complexes called ahankara. The ahankara is a source of a lot of stress and pain. Anahankara vacha. That original ahankara will go by knowledge only. That I am not the body, mind, sense complex. Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naam nacha shrotra jihve nacha ghrana nedre chiraranda rupa shivam. Is that knowledge which will remove the original ahankara. But all this piled up ahankara. I am inferior, I am superior, I am successful, I am failure. All of the ahankara can go by, again, viveka or discrimination. And I feel I'm superior. Why? Because of some accomplishment, and I take the credit for what I've accomplished, the ownership of what I've accomplished. When we already discussed this in case of manitvam. Manitvam means demanding respect. Ahankara also is something like that only. I should recognize that I am neither successful nor am I a failure. Success also is a point of view. Failure also is a point of view. I am neither successful nor failure. Neither so imposing success upon myself or failure upon myself. I am a very learned person. Don't impose that upon you. Recognize that all your learning also is because of the contribution of countless people in this world, past and present. Countless sages and countless scientists and countless thinkers have contributed to the storehouse of knowledge, and countless teachers have helped you to get that knowledge, and therefore you should be grateful, not proud about anything. He is speaking that Swamiji, I am a self-made man. I have created this. You don't create anything. You are just an instrument. This was Arjuna's problem, a very human problem. Arjuna thought that when I fight this battle, I will be the agent of killing all these people. I'll be a sinner. I'll go to hell. So Lord Krishna shows him in the 11th chapter, shows him the cosmic form. And Arjuna is frightened seeing that form. He says, Lord, why have you presented yourself before me in this frightening form? Please tell me, why do you appear before me in this horrible, frightening form? Lord Krishna tells him, hey Arjuna, I am the embodiment of time, embodiment of death. I've come here to devour everybody here. Whether you fight or not, nobody is going to be saved. Understand that all the warriors in both the armies are already killed by me. You just have to become, get all the credit for things that I already done. Meaning that the one who really does is Ishvara. We are instruments in the hands of Ishvara. We are functioning because of the intellect. He says, Buddhir buddhimatam asmi. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. I am the strength of the strong. I am the brilliance of the brilliant. Therefore, it makes no sense for me to feel proud about my intelligence, my brilliance, my strength, my accomplishment, because all of this is due to Ishvara's grace. It's all given to me. And therefore, pride doesn't make any sense at all. Ahankara, ego or pride makes no sense when we take into account the realities. Then we find that we are what we are on account of a lot of grace that we are enjoying. And therefore, there is all the room for gratefulness, not for pride or ego. Anahankara vacha, lack of ahankara, lack of ego. Next line says, Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. See the translation. Seeing clearly the evils of pain in birth, death, old age and disease. This is an interesting value. Lord Krishna says, see again and again the pain and misery involved in life. That human life has a lot of pain. Janma, birth, involves pain. Mrityu, death, of course involves pain. Jara, old age, involves pain. Vyadi, disease, involves pain. So Lord Krishna says that keeping in mind the pain, anusandhanam, seeing it again and again, the pain that is involved in the life. That's a funny thing, isn't it? Isn't it a negative thing, Swami? What is this? Always thinking of the pain? Why do you think of the pleasure? Why don't you think of the positive side? They say always think positive, not negative. This is neither positive nor negative. This is just the right thinking or the proper thinking. Pain is a reality of life. Just be aware of that. That when the birth is there, death is going to be there. Kalha kridati gacchati ayuhu. Says, Bharagovindam, Dinaya minyau sayam prata shishiravasanto punarayatah kalah kridati gacchatyayuhu tadapina munchatyashavayu. See, the time is ebbing away. Dinayamini, day and night. Sayam pratah, evening and morning. This time, this wheel of time is constantly moving. Winter and spring. Day and night. Morning and evening. The wheel of time is constant. Kala kridati. In a very stealthy manner, the time is passing by. Gacchati ayuhu. The ayuhu meaning the life is ebbing away. It is said in another verse, the days that have gone away never come back. Pratyayanti gatah punana divasaha. The days that have gone away never come back. Kalo jagat bhakshakah. The time is devourer of everything. In time there is birth, and therefore in time there will be death. In time, of course, there is youth, but in time there will be old age also. In time there is health, but in time there is disease also. So Shankaracharya says, Ma kuru dhanajana yauvana garvam hardi nimeshat kalas sarvam. Dhanajana yauvana garvam ma kuru. Don't be proud or arrogant about your youth, about your wealth, about your success. Time can snatch it away, rob away in a moment. So Lord Krishna is simply asking us to be aware of these basic realities of life. So that we can use our time properly. That's the whole idea. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, 9th chapter, Anityama sukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. Anityam asukham lokam. This loka, this body is anitya, is impermanent, perishable. Asukham, also there is a lot of dukkha in the life. Imam prapya, yes, you have this human embodiment which is most precious embodiment. To gain the human birth is a great privilege. They say a result of the punya or the virtues of many past births, because of which we are fortunate now to get this human birth. We should not take it for granted. Understand that it is very precious. Anityam asukham lokam. This loka is anitya, is impermanent. Asukham involves a lot of pain. Bhajaswam, therefore Lord Krishna says, Bhajaswam, may you worship me. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprapte, Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati, Dukram Karane. Says Bhaja Govindam, oh deluded fool. When the death comes at a point in time, all these worldly things are not going to help you. Bhaja Govindam, worship Govinda, meaning worship the Lord. So this is the idea here. That there is dukkha, the pain, physical pain, emotional pain, coming from the three sources, Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adidevika. We said this the other day that our own body and mind is very often is a source of pain. Body because of variety of diseases, mind because of many afflictions such as anxieties, worries, etc., etc. Adhyatmika, the individual is a source of pain. Adi Bhautika, the world around me also can be a source of pain. The dog in my neighbor's home always starts barking at 4:30 in the morning, wakes me up in the morning. The young man at the next house, he plays his music so loud, In India, this is not too, in India, people are very, what shall I say, they are very kind, and they want you also to be included. Therefore, when they play music, they include you also, and therefore you also hear. There are big loudspeakers blaring in your direction. And so, all kinds of horns blowing and all sorts of things that are happening around is all Adi Bhautika, all sorts of pain coming from the world around you. Adi Daivika, from divine sources such as heat, cold, rain, and whatever. So Lord Krishna says that may you constantly be aware of this. Not for losing interest in life, not for that purpose. Not for being afraid, no, not for fear. Just to be aware of the realities so that you know that you have to use your time well. That there must be constantly an awareness of the purpose of life, that life has a purpose. There is an end and there is a means. What are the means? Living the life of self-growth. Living life of values. If you have a value for knowledge, then pursuit of knowledge, studying, listening to scriptures, etc. If a value for devotion, well, all right, perform the acts of devotion. Or everything, both. Value for service, all right, provide, be a contributor, selfless service. And therefore, use your time and energy in the right direction. Don't squander them, don't waste away. Janma mrityu, jara vyadi, dukkha doshanudarshanam, Anudarshanam, seeing again and again the dosha, the defects that are involved in life, in pain, birth, death, old age, disease, etc. And many other things that are not mentioned here, but as I said, everything can be a source of happiness, everything can be a source of unhappiness, depends upon how we relate to things. We go to the next verse now. Asaktiranabhishvangah putradara gruhadishu nityancha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu. Asakti. Remember, this is asak, not asakti, asakti. Sakti means attachment. Asakti means strong attachment. Every day. Wow. Asakti, non-attachment. So what is meant here is, by non-attachment, we already talked about this attachment etc. earlier, in Vairagya etc. So earlier we were told that may you have Vairagya, dispassion towards the objects of pleasure, sense organs. Here we are told asakti means the unattachment with reference to things that you are every day. So with reference to sense objects, we can create a distance. But there are certain things with which we cannot create a distance. Like our furniture, for example, our motor car, we need it. Our furniture, you need it. Your cell phone, you need it. Your computer, you need it. Many things that we are constantly using in our day-to-day life. What should be the nature of our relationship to them? Is characterized by asakti. Even your house, for example, the house and car, all these various possessions that we have, which basically are acquired by us and accumulated by us because we think that they are necessary. Lord Krishna says, have the relationship of non-attachment with them. Use the things, but don't get attached to them. That's not mine. That house, you see, there is one thing that this house is mine. By attachment here is meant the sense of ownership, that I own this, this is mine. So relationship that we have with the things around us, such as our house, such as our car, such as number of things that are involved in our day-to-day living, our relationship with them is one of ownership, that this is mine, I am the owner of them. Lord Krishna says that you are not the owner of anything. You can be called a possessor of something, but not an owner of anything. You possess this house, you possess this car, you possess variety of things, but you are not the owner of these things. That is how your relationship should be with the things, so that they don't bind you. They explain that when you are a guest in somebody's house, how you enjoy all the comforts that your host has provided to you. But while enjoying that shower, while enjoying that bed, while enjoying that desk and chair, while using and enjoying those things, still you do not have the notion that this is mine. Is it not so? Hopefully not. When you go to a hotel, for example, you use those things. But then, when you leave that place, you don't pick up things from there, you leave them there. Some people do. From airlines also, sometimes knives and forks and stuff like that, they take with them. From the hotels also. But normally we don't do that. Now, you know that you are not owner of those things, and still you do enjoy them. Understand that for enjoying something, it is not necessary that we should be owners of that. Right now, it is difficult for me to say that I am enjoying something or am I enjoying ownership. I have a different kind of sense with the plants and trees and flowers and fruits which are in my garden. When I am taking a walk along my garden, I have a certain kind of a sense that if I am taking a walk in somebody else's garden, I don't have that. This is my flower, this is my fruit, this is my tree, my garden. So now there are two things involved. You enjoy the tree as well as you enjoy the mineness of the tree. You enjoy the car and mindness, ownership of the car. Understand this? Does our joy come from the thing or come from the ownership? We easily get attached to things. You buy a new sofa and then it's comfortable sofa. Then you get attached to that. Now I need only... So I remember myself, I need only a given chair. I'm not comfortable in any other chair. I need only that pen, not some other pen. This pencil, not some other pencil. This slipper, not some other slipper. We get used, not only get used to them, we get attached to them. That's called sakti, attachment. Asakti. Lack of attachment. Do use them, enjoy them without attachment. Is it possible to do that? Just as we enjoy things in a hotel, just as we enjoy things in our when we are a guest, without ownership, without attachment, so that when we leave a hotel, I don't feel that I'm losing something or I miss that, the chair in the hotel. I miss that thing in the hotel. I don't. You miss them if you're attached to them. So how we are able to enjoy things without attachment, that's an example. Similarly, Lord Krishna says that the possessions that you have, may you have the relationship of unattachment, the relationship not of ownership. You possess something, do not own them. You can say you are a trustee of the thing, not an owner. To such an extent that even this body also cannot be called my body. I am really a trustee of this body or a possessor of the body. You do use this body, enjoy the body, keep it in good condition, but not you're the owner of the body. See, ownership creates a certain anxiety. When it is mine, then I have the responsibility, a lot of anxiety about that. As to what will happen, what will not happen. So asakti, and that takes away. What happens is, very often we find ourselves thinking about them. Thinking about a particular chair, thinking about a particular computer, thinking about a particular thing that I'm using. Then I think about them. Sitting here in the class, thinking about those things. Meaning that it is not the things but attachment for them which becomes the source of distraction, and that creates a distraction in our mind. Basically, all these values are prescribed here for knowledge, For knowledge, we require mind which is free from distraction, which enjoys a certain focus, and these attachments, etc., they distract our mind, they disturb our focus, therefore they are an obstacle to us. And not only that, but ownership is really a notion in my mind. There is no such thing as ownership. But Swami used to tell us a story. Many years ago, when Swami himself came to Bombay, he was new. And one day a devotee invited Swami for bhiksha. And he took him in a taxi, went to Sion. There is an 8-story building. Taxi comes there. Swami says, "Hey, Swami, I live here." "You live here? This is yours?" No, Swami, not the whole building. I live on the 4th floor. Okay. They take an elevator, go to, "Oh, you own the whole thing?" "No, Swami, not the whole floor. There's one flat." And in Bombay they call it flat, here they call it apartment. It was a flat. That's what they call it, flat. So then he takes him to the flat. Swami is made to sit here in the living room, and he goes inside to make some coffee, etc. for Swami. When he is absent, Swami is looking around and thinking. So when he comes out with a cup of coffee, Swami says, "You own this?" He says, "Yeah." "Oh, this floor, do you own that?" "No, Swami, this floor is the ceiling of the fellow below me, so I can't say I'm the owner of that." "This ceiling, do you own that?" "I can't say that, Swami, because my ceiling is the floor of this fellow over there." "This wall?" "No, Swami, I can't say because my right wall is the left wall of this other fellow there. My left wall is the right wall of this fellow." "Then what do you own?" "You own what do you own?" "You own the space." "Well, the whole space is yours if you want to own." Ownership is a one-way business, really. I keep on calling things as mine. Those things do not call them as mine. I just recently bought a new pair of chappals, very, very expensive, and I was very proud of them. I brought them here. At the end of the talk, I find my chappals are missing. In place of them, there are some same kind of chappals, but old ones. Somebody quietly wore them and went away. And those stupid chappals did not say, "Hey, I don't belong to you, I belong to Swami." He didn't say that. I keep on declaring that thing to be mine. That thing has no such thing at all, that I belong to him. It is a one-way relationship. It is a notion in my mind. And therefore, the scriptures say that when I buy a land and I say that this is then the land is laughing at me. He says, "Hey, I've seen many fellows like you. How many came and how many went?" The wealth also laughs at me. Say, "Hey, so many people's hands I went, you are not the first one and not the last one." The idea is that it is one thing to possess things, it's another thing to have a sense or notion of ownership in them. That ownership brings its own worries and anxieties, and therefore asakti, lack of attachment, lack of the notion of ownership. Asakti anavishvanga putradara grahadishu. With reference to furniture and computers, it is one thing that I have detachment from them, but with reference to putra, the son, dara, the wife, means spouse, with them I can't have the same relationship with chair and table. So with chairs and tables, it is one thing to say that I have no attachment, but then you can't say that with spouse and my child, etc. also, I have no attachment. That is not right. The Lord Krishna says, anavishvanga, lack of excessive attachment. So with those with whom you are closely related, With chair I am not related. So an attachment is all right. But with those I am closely related to, then Lord Krishna says, Anavishwanga, absence of excessive attachment. Means some attachment is in order, but not excessive attachment. With close family members or friends, an affection is definitely in order. Love is in order, should be there. Affection should be there. That love and affection bring about a care and concern for them so that I take care of them. They're my children, I nurture them, I nourish them, I raise them. Their spouse also, I love them, take care of them, provide for them. So we admit that we have special relationship with these people who are closely related to us. Therefore, it is my son, and what I do for my son, I don't necessarily do for somebody else's son. That is accepted. And therefore, that affection that is required, the love that is required should be there. The relationship should have affection, should have love, so that I reach out to them, they reach out to me, and that's a very healthy relationship. Then what is excessive attachment? Excessive attachment is when in my attachment there is a demand or expectation. Khalil Gibran says that look, this child you have is through you, not of you. You brought this child into the world, which is fine, but don't say that this child is mine or I am the owner of this child. No. You love the child, care, nurture, nourish. At the same time, recognize that child is an independent entity, having its own personality, having its own freedom, and therefore give them the freedom to grow, freedom to live. So a relationship of affection or love in which I give the freedom to the other person. Meaning that I do not control them. You see, what happens is that we do love, but our love is very often characterized by expectations and demands. That I did this and therefore in return you should do that. Sometimes even parents also ask, we did all this for you for 30 years, what are you doing for us? I mean, it's natural to have expectations. But those expectations are the bondage. Love is not the bondage. The expectation and the love is the bondage. And sometimes excessive attachment is such that we suffocate the person to whom I am attached. So much attached to my child that I am constantly worried about the child. The fellow goes out, now you did not call me when you reached there. Why are you late by 5 minutes? What happened? I start worrying. I suffocate them, strangulate them sometimes with my affection. Do not give them the freedom to be what they are. Therefore, give them freedom and enjoy freedom. It is difficult to love somebody and give them freedom. To love somebody without expecting a return in the favor is a very difficult thing, but this is what we have to learn to do. Is it possible for me to love somebody even though they do not fulfill my expectation? Very difficult. We love those who fulfill our expectations. When expectations cease to be fulfilled, our love also generally disappears. So do we love a person or do we love our expectation? It's hard to say. So ideally, anavishwanga, lack of excessive attachment, meaning lack of demand, lack of expectation, lack of control. We want to control the person whom we love. Who are you talking to? Who called you? Why are you talking so long? Whose letter was that? Why are you late by half an hour? Nothing wrong in asking this question, but the tone in which the question is asked. There is a certain amount of ownership there. He says, how can you do things without mind knowing those things? You do ask, where were you? Doesn't mean that you cannot, inquire about things. Where were you? That's a different thing. From where were you? So, the relationship with our near and dear ones, the relationship is free from excessive attachment, free from demands, free from control. Do care for them, at the same time give them a freedom. Giving them freedom doesn't mean I don't care for them, understand? No, I give them freedom, Swami, let them do. That means not that I don't care for them, I care for them. I love them. I do what all I can do for them. At the same time, I give them the freedom to be what they are. That's our goal in a relationship. Anavishwangaha. In that case, it will be, because all these things can be a source of anxiety. All of these can become obstacle to my pursuit of knowledge. Understand this? Anything that causes anxiety, anything that causes distraction, anything that causes concern, naturally it's going to weigh upon my mind and it will be an obstacle when I want to meditate, when I want to worship, when I want to contemplate. All of the attachment, all of these things become obstacles. Therefore, Lord Krishna is including this. But what relationship is with Vedanta? Well, knowledge requires a certain disposition of mind, which enjoys clarity, which enjoys focus, which enjoys concentration. And therefore, Lord Krishna is prescribing those values which will eliminate those distractions, leaving our mind free to do what we need to do. Meaning that when you want to study, the mind is available to study. When you want to listen to something, the mind is available to do that. You have a control over your mind. The mind is your friend. That doesn't mean that you do not do anything else. But when you want to study, then you are able to study. Now here you want to study and mind wants to do something else, or mind is worried about something else, anxious about something else, wants to do something else. That means that mind is not available. It does not cooperate. You want the mind to be available to us. Mind to be giving cooperation to us. Mind being with us. And in having that mind, whatever kind of obstacles can possibly arise, Lord Krishna is all, pleased in describing them one by one and telling us these values. So, we have been able to discuss quite a few values. About 14 out of 20 values we have discussed. There's a book called The Value of Values at the counter. So you can study that book, discusses all this. And I don't know, again, next year when we meet, let's see. We are going to discuss the other verses of 13th chapter. We might include some of this in that session. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om.